Terraria is a big game, a really big game in fact compared to other sandbox games. It has a lot of items, plants and things that can damage you, small nuisances like slimes, heavy damage dealers like every hard mode enemy when you first enter hard mode, and colossal damage dealers like every boss in the game. And what do you do when you receive a lot of damage and die? You either A. Get good and stop getting hit, B. Get some new weapons to kill things before they can harm you or get some new armor, or C. Make buff potions. C is usually the best option. So a month ago I decided to make a video about Deep Rock Galactic's buff system. Don't worry, you don't need to watch it. In that video I said that Terraria's buff system was bad. I know, extremely bad take. After receiving a few comments about my statement, I thought about Terraria's buff system again. And yeah, I was definitely wrong. There are many things to like and praise, like resource gathering. In my Deep Rock video, I said that gathering resources to craft potions and having to scour the world for rare ingredients was annoying, but now that I think about it, that is half the fun of crafting potions. It's fun to slowly discover your world, and rare ingredients give players an incentive to do so. There are usually 3 types of ingredients in crafting potions: herbs, materials, and fish. Herbs are naturally found in their respective biomes. Blinkroot is found underground, Daybloom is found in forests, Deathweed is found in the Corruption or the Crimson, and so on. These herbs aren't very difficult to find at all, but it still works as an incentive for the player to explore the world in the early stages of Terraria. And when you progress far enough and defeat your first boss to unlock the Druid, you can make farms so you never have to search for these materials again. Materials are things like ores, pearls, and fallen stars. All of these materials are usually acquired by progression. You get ores in early pre-hard mode when you're crafting some armor, you get fallen stars every night, and the only things that are hard to get are pearls since they rarely drop from oysters. Fish are usually the more specific ingredient in potions. You can't craft 2 potions using the same fish, whereas 2 potions might require the same herb. While this can be annoying at first, that opinion will likely change when this happens. Terraria is balanced in a way so that even the most mundane of tasks can help you progress. You're fishing for some potion ingredients? Well, have this crate or these angler quest fishes. Crates also change in hard mode, so you can still fish in hard mode and get good loot. Not to mention that crates can also contain potions. So you got your ingredients, you gathered some herbs, you fished some fish, and if your potion required ores, you mined some. Now it's time to craft your potion, but let's say that you don't know the recipe of the potion you want to craft and you forgot that the wiki and the guide exists. Well, when I was looking at the potion crafting recipes, I noticed that every ingredient is tied to the potion in some way. At least usually. In Terraria, magic is connected to the stars, so you craft a mana regeneration potion using fallen stars. I think magic is connected to the stars. You craft mana crystals using fallen stars, so it must be connected in some way. Splunker potions are used to find ore, so you craft it with, you guessed it, gold ore. Okay, you might have not guessed the gold part. But let's say that crafting potions isn't the thing for you. You tried alchemy but you didn't like it. Well, luckily for you, you can obtain potions from other means: chests, pots, and as I previously mentioned, crates. The potions you obtain from these can easily carry you through pre-hard mode if you're playing on normal mode. But remember, chests and pots are limited, so they probably won't be able to carry you through expert and master mode, which are modes where you'll likely attempt the same boss more than 2 times. On normal mode, you don't even need to use potions since it will make most boss fights easy to someone who has already played Terraria at least once. However, on master mode, yeah, it's hard. You need those iron skin and swiftness potions, man. Those buffs support your master mode world like Atlas, which is either named something along the lines of Fantasia of Crystals, or Shitfuck 31. Alright, you craft or find the buff potion. Now you can use the same recipe until the end of the game. I thought that Terraria was filled with unnecessary potions, but it really isn't as cluttered as I first thought. Every potion has a use, and unlike games like Skyrim, every potion does have 3 variants that are a bit stronger than each other. Let's take a look at the Iron Skin potion. This potion increases your defense by 8, which reduces the damage you take. This potion doesn't have any upgrades. You can use the Iron Skin potion until the end of the game. It isn't replaced by anything, but rather it synergizes with other potions. The Endurance potion decreases the damage you take by 10%, then add the increased defense of Iron Skin on top, and Endurance and Iron Skin is a really good combo. The only buff potions I know of that cancel each other out are the different tiers of the Luck potion. But remember, I'm talking about potions. There are also flasks. Everything I've said before about crafting also applies to flasks, but they buff your melee damage instead of buffing your character. And only one flask can be active at any time. Think of it like resin in Dark Souls. Some of these buffs are pretty decent, like the Flask of Fire, Cursed Flames, Ichor, Nanite, Poison and Venom. On the other hand, there is the Flask of Party and the Flask of Midas. The Flask of Party makes it so that your attacks just burst out confetti. And there we go. The Flask of Midas is unique because it imbues your weapon with straight up gold, making enemies drop more coins. But how about buffs that don't come in a bottle? Introducing food. There's a reason I left food for the very end, and it's because 3 of the 4 buffs food items can give the player are the closest things Terraria has to a generic AAA game buff. Those 3 are well fed, plenty satisfied, and exquisitely stuffed, providing minor, medium, and major improvements to all stats respectively. The 4th and the most interesting one is Tipsy. Now, Tipsy has a special place in my heart because it is the buff I used to defeat the Wall of Flesh on my first ever playthrough of Terraria in 2016. Tipsy is a pretty short buff, with the longest possible duration being 4 minutes from drinking sake. It reduces your defense but heavily buffs your melee speed and damage while also giving you a plus 2% critical hit chance. Because of its defense reducing capabilities, it is actually a debuff, but I still wanted to put it in here. So, why did I talk about these? Well, here's my point and why Terraria does buffs right. There's a great amount of variety in buffs that a lot of games really don't have. There are flat damage increases, but there are also unique potions such as Inferno, which cause a ring of fire to form around your player, burning anything that gets too close. Potion crafting also isn't really that grindy, and it hits the sweet spot between complex and simple. Sure, you might have to fish for some time, but that preparation will never feel like it has gone to waste. And lastly, Terraria takes a risk of rain route. Almost no potions cancel each other out, with the limit of buffs being 22, which is a number you will likely never reach in a normal playthrough. This system allows you to get powerful but not so powerful that you break the game. If I had to condense all of the reasons why Terraria does buff potions right into one word, it would be balanced. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe. Goodbye and have a good day.